Take three. Literally, no joke, the third time trying to do this, and I've deleted the first two. So welcome, one and all, to the final pay-per-view stop before we get to WrestleMania, and that is FASTLANE, the WWE Raw brand pay-per-view. I'm going to go through each one of these matches on the card list, pre-show all the way up to main event, and I'm just going to give a quick rundown of each one because trying to do it in-depth is becoming next to impossible tonight. Kickoff match, we have a cruiserweight tag team match, Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus the Brian Kendrick and Noam Dar. I'm giving this one to Kendrick and Dar. They're doing a better job with the cruiserweights, with giving them more matches as opposed to just like maybe one or possibly even two. I really do have a feeling they could make this into a much bigger thing. They have to integrate it better. And with Raw, I really don't see any reason why not. It's a 3-hour show, and the ratings and the attendance have been at an all-time low since they moved it to 3 hours. So you've got to increase the content. You can't cheap out on it. But Kendrick and Dar are going to win this one. Should be a pretty decent match. I'm not too familiar with Tozawa and Dar, so it's really hard to get into this one. Next, we have into the main show. Apparently, we only have one kickoff match. Sasha Banks and Nia Jax. Nia Jax wins this match. I have a feeling they're going to be setting up something really, really cool at WrestleMania. My hopes are a fatal 4-way elimination match for the women's championship. More about that when we get to the women's title match of the evening. I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit longer of a match. Last match these two had, it really didn't go too long. I think we're going to get at least a 10 to 12-minute match between the two. I have a feeling Nia is going to come out again. I say, why not? This is a great opportunity to push her. Sasha has been over since day one in NXT, and what better time? I mean, seriously, what better time? Anyway, I do apologize for the random messenger chime that comes in. That'd be my wife. If you're listening, I love you. Moving on, we have Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass for the Raw Tag Team Champions. I feel like Gallows and Anderson are going to retain. It took them too long to get the belts. WWE waited way too long to pull the trigger on them. I have a feeling there might have been some backstage politics as to why the New Day didn't just drop it to them at one of their many title defenses. But I have a feeling this is going to be an okay-ish match, and the reason is I'm not overly fond of Enzo and Cass as a team, but I have a feeling these two are going to put on a decent match, and we're going to see Gallows and Anderson go over strong, setting up into what I would like to think is a tag team scramble at Mania. But anyway, decent-ish match, not overly excited about it, only because Cass I know is good. He can work singles. Enzo I'm not overly fond of. I feel like he's all shucking and jiving, and he's the mouth, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on him. Maybe that's my fault for not being into him, but you know what? What can you do? But anyway, moving on. I know I'm kind of breezing through these. I have to. Neville versus Jake Gallagher for the Cruiserweight Championship. Neville wins. I love heel Neville. I'm glad they changed up his intro just a little bit. They dropped the whole superhero gimmick. You know, he grew out the beard. He's got, you know, this amazing evil glare. And good for him. He long overdue a title reign. Long overdue. Gallagher, I'm liking him. I like what he does. I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty good match. Probably, I almost want to say better than some matches on here. I'm looking forward to this match over the tag team match, if that makes any sense. But Neville retains, and then we get our huge cruiserweight scramble at WrestleMania. Again, got to go out on these big shows. Got to go all out. Raw Women's Champion Bayley versus Sasha Flair. The question is, does Bayley retain at the pay-per-view, or does the curse of Flair take over here? I'm really hoping they don't play politics in this and have Charlotte win again. She's already a 4-time champion. Bayley getting a Raw show women's title win. I'm very much afraid they're going to have Charlotte win this match. And and I don't necessarily feel that she is well deserving of it. I think it's time to pass the torch on to other people. I think it's time to let other people into the main spotlight for a while. We had a taste with Sasha for a while. Those two had an amazing back-and-forth feud, but it really took a lot off of Sasha because when you keep having her win in your Raw spots but having her lose on pay-per-views, believe it or not, yes, this is a show. Yes, it's predetermined, but people do know these things, and it does hurt them in the long run. So my guess is they're going to break the curse of the Flair. Bayley's going to win, and that's going to set up a huge, huge debate and argument on Raw, like Nia saying, Nia Jax is saying, well, I've been winning nonstop. I deserve a title match. Sasha Banks, I feel like she's going to kind of fall back into the heelish spot a little bit, saying, well, I'm the boss. I deserve it. Charlotte Flair is going to want to invoke her. Her next match, because she's at the next of the line, it's going to boil over the next couple weeks. We're going to get an awesome setup for a fatal four-way elimination match at WrestleMania for the belt. Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. This has a lot of opportunity, but it also has a lot to lose. If the WWE is smart, there's only two ways they can end this. If you have Roman's win, you have to be able to put Strowman over big time. And I do mean he is like their monster right now, and they're doing a fantastic job with him. I love how they're having to mow through guys. His work is becoming better and better. He's just an extremely imposing guy, and they're doing fantastically. Roman Reigns is public enemy number one, and right now they need to pull the trigger on him and start having him go bad guy. They really do. If they need to invest stock in him. People like to boo him. Give people a reason to boo him. So here's what I would like to see happen. The two have a good match. Roman's realizing really quickly he's having a very hard time trying to beat him. We have a part in the match where Roman has to rely on some kind of heelish maneuvers to win. I don't know. We'll call it a low blow. Some kind of illegal object being brought into the fray. It's going to happen very quickly. Very few people are going to notice it. This is going to be the job of the announcers to point it out on the card, on the match. As it happens, you got to do it. And then I have a feeling this is either going to lead to a DQ spot or Roman picking up a win here. That's one way of having it happen. The other way is Strowman goes through Reigns like he's nothing, and they set up a huge retribution match at Mania where basically Strowman wins again. And the only reason why I'm being really hard on Roman Reigns right now is because, in my opinion, yes, his workload has gotten better. His mic skills, not so much. His mannerisms I have been liking a lot more, like his eyebrow raise via The Rock. I feel like that's really good. Work with things like that. It's the small idiosyncrasies in what you're doing that make it better. He needs to be better in those areas. His mic skills have to improve as well. But less is more in that area. If he could just tone down and trim a lot of the fat of what he's saying, he could be very well off in this company. But if this turns out to be a Roman's burial of Strowman, I guarantee you it's gonna get even worse. Like they had him main event Mania last year. Was not a fan of his matches. I've been a fan of very few of his matches. His in-between title reign up until last year's Mania was extremely mediocre and boring. I'm not a fan of the guy. I feel like there is potential there, but not as a good guy. They got to turn him heel. They've got to start shredding the shrouds of the Shield. Now is the time. You've got to pull the trigger on him and have him go full heel. That way he can start doing the heelish stuff and make him look like a powerhouse badass. So now we get to the final two matches of the card. I've been putting this one off, and that's Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. I have a feeling this is going to be the best match on the card, only because these two are incredible. And the reason for that is because Chris Jericho is going to come out. He's going to either distract or attack Sami Zayn while the ref is not looking. Samoa Joe is going to set him up for his muscle buster, and that's going to be the win. Samoa Joe moves on to WrestleMania, and what I would probably feel is going to be some kind of show involving himself, Jericho, and Sami Zayn, a triple threat for the U.S. title, which I think would be a perfect opportunity for Sami Zayn to finally get some mid-card gold. Samoa Joe, a little too early into his run right now to be looking at gold. He just doesn't have that huge impact that I thought he was going to have, and that's not necessarily his fault. He has impact, but as far as who I feel deserves it more, that title and opportunity would go to Sami Zayn. I think those two if it goes into a U.S. title match, it's definitely going to be Owens. Wow, I'm losing my train of thought. It's definitely going to go to Zayn and Jericho. And that's only if the program with Rollins and Triple H still goes on planned, and Samoa Joe plays like an enforcer type role, which would protect him, not necessarily put him in a match where he's going to be looked over and nothing gets passed on to him just because it's Joe. A very awkward time for him to be in the company right now, right around, right after Royal Rumble time. So either way, no matter what he's going to be doing, he's going to be made to look really good. So I have a feeling Joe's going to win this one via shenanigans, and then we finally see Zayn go into WrestleMania to fight Jericho in a U.S. Championship match where Zayn finally goes over, but we'll get to that as the time comes. And now we finally, uninterrupted for the third time, get to the match of the evening, Kevin Owens versus Goldberg. I'm going to say right now, for someone as old as Goldberg is, the guy looks great. He can still wrestle. He still has the intimidation factor. He's still hella strong. I still like watching him. I've liked watching him for a long time. I am going to say he's only good in the shorter matches. Anything that goes over 10 minutes, and you are in big trouble. He gassed out very quickly. But this match is going to have several things going on with it. Clearly, we're going to have Goldberg making Kevin Owens look weak just by comparison. But I do think we're going to get some nice moments where we're going to see Kevin Owens fighting back against Goldberg. What I think could happen, Lesnar, of course, is going to cost Goldberg the match via, I don't want to say DQ. I hate that. A DQ finish on a paper, and they have been really good about that, and I'm hoping they don't break that. Ref gets distracted or get knocked out. Lesnar comes in and beats the holy piss out of Goldberg, and then Kevin Owens gets in and picks up the scraps and retains his title, and he moves on to the next program at WrestleMania. And now that does a couple things. Number one, it sets up the Lesnar-Goldberg final match, and this will be the final match. These two are not going to wrestle for a fourth time. It's going to make Lesnar look a lot more imposing because the last two times these two guys have been in the ring with each other, one being Survivor Series, the other one at Royal Rumble, Lesnar got manhandled pretty quickly. So they really are building this. This is going to be I guess, the passing of the torch, even though I think Goldberg's only like 11 years older than Lesnar, and Lesnar's going to be turning 40. It's going to be the match that should have happened at WrestleMania 20, but we'll get to that when we get there. Lesnar's going to cost Goldberg the opportunity, and it's going to fuel into their final match at Mania. And meanwhile, Kevin Owens gets to retain his title. I am a little upset because if they did that, it's going to kind of take some heat off of Kevin Owens because that's the second time in 2 pay-per-views. I believe there might be a third. I'm not 100% sure, but pretty much I want to see even more than that with what he was doing with Jericho, but that's now over. What I think this could lead into is it's going to protect Owens, but that's going to and also going to open up a possibility of him working with someone else. Who that is right now, that remains to be seen. If they do have Jericho defend his title at WrestleMania, then that eliminates Jericho wrestling Owens for the Universal title at Mania, which is something I wrote down on paper months ago. I have a feeling this is going to be a very overlooked match, and I think there's going to be some potential here, but not a whole lot, only because everyone can see the finish. Lesnar's going to get involved. It's going to cost Goldberg the match. It's done and over with. And it's unfortunate because I think if these two were to work with each other, they could do something really good. I do not think this is going to turn into a triple threat match for the Universal title. I think it very well could be Kevin Owens possibly defending against a returning Finn Balor, but that's only if he returns. So overall, I think this card has a lot of opportunity, but the biggest problem with a transitional pay-per-view into WrestleMania is that I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of I think it's going to be too much storytelling and not enough substance, which is something I feel like the SmackDown shows have been producing on a weekly level. But I could be wrong. As it stands right now, this is not a bad-looking show. I would have loved to see, some more solid Raw talent get some matches here, but for what we have, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. So those are my picks for the evening. Let me know what you all thought down below. Like I said, if you were watching the first two live streams and they got cut off, I do apologize. That's what happens when you work an overnight job at a hotel. You get distracted. And this is one of the really only times I can do this kind of thing involving prediction shows before a match. A pay-per-view on Sunday because my weekends are really getting full up. So let me know what you think. I'll be doing a follow-up video as to what I feel how I feel it went. It's probably going to be happening the day after. And and in a couple weeks, going to be doing something fun for WrestleMania. So let me know down below if you'd like to be involved in a project involving WrestleMania, like a nice little podcast, some fantasy booking. We'll have a good time. It'll be a lot of fun, and I promise it'll be on time, uninterrupted. So I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone who stuck with me through this. I know it's obnoxious and I do apologize, but it means the world to me. I definitely do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like these kind of things. Comment down below with any opinions on the matter. And don't forget to fist bump that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen, because we are officially looking at the horizon of 300 subs. And yes, there will be a contest giveaway. That video will be coming out in the near future as we get closer and closer. I'd like to ideally have that after I hit 260 subs, between 260, 275. We'll be giving out all kinds of awesome, cool stuff, games, comics, movies, just all kinds of cool stuff. But remember, you got to be subscribed in order to do that. And in order to experience the Bumble Madness, got to be subscribed as well. But that's going to do it, guys. Take care of yourselves. Hope you all enjoyed this pay-per-view coming up, and I'll be seeing you next time.